Woo! I am so excited to be here. Thank you, Matt, Jeff. PeaceLove, I just love PeaceLove. So I'm going to talk to you just for, you can tell I'm nervous, right? It's okay. I'm just going to talk to you for a few moments about criminal justice reform. How many people know about criminal justice? Let me just see a show of hands. How many people believe in second chances? Let me see. Oh, okay. So, I'm going to sit here in this seat. 2.4 million people are incarcerated across the United States on any given day. And 1.9 billion people have a criminal record. Specifically in the state of Ohio, where I am from, we have 51,000 people in our 28 prisons and another 1,800 in the county jail in which I work in. How many people believe that good people make poor choices, right? Good people make bad decisions all the time. There are people that have mental health disorders and chemical dependency issues and barriers and challenges, and they funnel in and out of our criminal justice system. So I'm going to talk about one specific person today. Is that all right? Yeah. And I'm going to move around because I'm a little nervous, but that's okay. So let me talk about this young lady that I really hold very dear to my heart. And this chair is going to represent the 2.4 million people that are presently incarcerated, whose voice is silenced, whose voice is not heard, who people look at and deem a second-class citizen that have no rights, they have no way to speak up for themselves. So that's what this chair is going to represent. Is that all right? So let me talk about this young lady, inmate 284635. This young woman has funneled in and out of the criminal justice system for 20 plus years. She has 5 wonderful children, a loving family, but yet she continues to funnel in and out of our criminal justice system. She has been arrested in the state of Ohio almost 100 times, and in our county jail almost about 70 times with a stay in that particular jail. Kind of unheard of, or like, what? Huh? What do you think? What? So let me tell you a little bit about this young woman. She went to our Ohio Reformatory for Women. We have one prison in the state of Ohio for women, one. And it presently holds 4,100 women, and it was only built for 3,200 women. So it's probably a little overcrowded, right? But remember, they have no rights or nothing anyhow. So this particular woman went to the Ohio Reformatory for the first time. Devastating experience. I said, girl, what'd you learn? She said, ooh, that was a little rough. This was in '89. So when she got out, do you think she went back? Because it was rough. How many think she went back? Few of you? Well, she did, 10 years later. But she didn't address any of the mental health or the addiction issues and barriers and challenges that she had prior to going there. So of course, she might have stayed under the radar, but she went back to prison because she continued in that same cycle. Does that make sense? So here we are again. 10 years later, she's on her way back to the Ohio Reformatory for Women. I'm going to refer to it as ORW, or Mary's House, because that's what we call it, because it's a farm. So she's gone back now for the second time. Well, this time she went for drug abuse and theft and distribution of drugs. So how many people would think maybe she had some issues or some challenges that she needed to address? How many would think that, right? But back in those days, mental health was not something that the Ohio Department of Correction or any correctional system across the nation deemed necessary to look at when it came to someone that was in the system. Addiction was another thing that we didn't look at, or we didn't think about, or we did not address. So here I'm working with this young woman I love very much, close to my heart. She comes home and I can't do it anymore. I'm gonna get my life together. I'm gonna do the right thing. And she did. She tried really hard. Couple years later, Here she stood in front of the judge yet again, third time, on her way back to the Ohio Reformatory for Women. This time, it just wasn't nice. The judge said, I'm going to give you as much as I can give you. And at that point, she could only get an 18-month sentence, so that's what she was sentenced to. So this time going to the Ohio Reformatory for Women, they had some drug programs and they had some different mental health services going on inside of the correctional system, but she didn't have enough time. Imagine that. There's a waiting list for people to get help, even in prison. There's a waiting list to get some help. So this woman came out again with a plan of action that she was going to do the right thing, and I'm just going home and I'm going to get it together. Funneling back around the same people, places, and things. She, again, got in trouble, drug addiction, drug abuse, distribution, and theft. This time, though, this young woman is standing before the judge, and the judge says, you know, if I could give you life, I would give you life. And she said, whoo, you gotta be kidding, because I haven't done anything that bad. He said, I'm just tired of seeing you funneling in and out of this system. You just keep coming back. This woman stood in front of the judge that day and she told him, well, you know, you'll see me again, but never in this capacity. I'll never stand in front of you again in shackles and chains, but I'll be back, Your Honor, and I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna help somebody else. And he said, okay, I'll wait to see that day happen. Because mind you now, she has a record a mile long, a 20-year history of funneling in and out of the system, doing things that are just drug addiction, selling drugs, theft, all kind of drug rings going on. I mean, just a menace to society. This time when she went to the Ohio Reformatory for Women, sitting on the bus in shackles and chains, a belly wrap, what was going on was a fog plant, and that means you cannot move on the compound until the fog lifts. So if anybody knows anything about, open farmland, it's a fog. You can't see anything in front of you. So as they sat on that bus, this young lady said, as the fog is lifting, it kind of hit me for the first time to think that maybe these chains and shackles and these barbed wires are not meant to keep me in, but they're meant to keep me out. So she went into the system that year, in 2003, with a different mindset and a different perspective. She said, I'm done with this and I'm not coming back. She went to the unit and asked them to give her some help, and they said, well, we'll see what we can get you into. She's like, no, you're gonna get me into something. She called home and told her family, okay, I'm going back to pre-release. I'm, going to some programs, and her brother told her, I'm coming to see you because we have to have a conversation. And he was upset with her. And she said, oh, okay. He's just mad because she's been there how many times? This is her what number? 4. So he gets there and she walks into this waiting room, and she's looking around and she doesn't see her children. And she sees her brother and she sits down and she talks to him like, wait a minute, what's going on? And she said, don't say a word, don't speak for a moment, because in her mind, she thought he is getting ready to tell her something's happened to one of her children. She said, don't speak yet, just wait a minute. And then she said, okay, I'm ready now. And he said, I need you to listen to me very closely. I'm not coming to see you anymore. I'm gonna send you some money. You need to take it. Budget yourself out. He said, I'm not coming. He said, you don't understand. Your children love and adore you. They are excited when they come and see you. But when we leave here, they are emotionally distraught. You don't even take into consideration the psychological and emotional impact that your choices have made on their lives. He said, I can't do it anymore. That young woman sat there devastated, went back to her dorm, got down on her knees and cried out, help me. Because if you don't help me, I'm going to destroy myself and everything in my path. That was in 2003. That young woman said, I can't come back here. I'm going to address my mental health, my addiction. And today we're in 2018. How many of you think that young woman done anything different with her life? Now remember, she'd been there 4 times. How many of you think that? Her cry for help! Oh, it rung in her soul and it touched other people. Remember now, she's crying out, help me. How many of you think she done something different? How many? Let me see how many hands. Ooh, not that many. Huh? How about this? Those that think she done something different, stand up real quick so I can see. Let's see. Oh, now everybody wants to stand up. Oh, y'all had their hands up a few minutes ago. Well, let me tell you about that young woman. What she understood is that our voices are silent. And as long as I sit down and not be willing to stand up, to talk about the disparities and the disadvantages inside of the criminal justice system, then I continue to allow it to be that way. That young woman went on to earn 3 college degrees. From The Ohio State University. Yeah. OH! I know. An honorary doctorate of divinity and theology. A licensed social worker. A licensed chemical dependency counselor. A licensed prevention specialist. Was hired by Homeland Security and Justice Program to design and develop a program that addresses the opiate epidemic in the state of Ohio. And she sits before you today. When we think that people that make poor choices and decisions cannot do something different with their life, when we think that they can't turn it around, I am an investment of somebody pouring into me and saying you have more in you than you have used in your life. And if you listen and take some suggestions, you can make it. Today, I am so honored to be an advocate for criminal justice reform because I was once counted out. I'm an advocate for PeaceLove in Ohio because it helps me to balance my mental stability, and I use it in our county jail working with the women that I work with. It is the most amazing opportunity to change lives. So if you want to know, can somebody change? Maybe I have a loved one or a daughter or a son or a cousin, niece, nephew that I'm just tired of, frustrated with. I understand. And sometimes you got to love them with a distance love because they just wear you out. But remember my story, and you really didn't hear it. But remember me, I was done. I was Bonnie and Clyde all by myself. But today I can stand before you and show you what restoration looks like because my life has been redeemed because I have been chosen for change. Thank you.